it's today's nice, sunny, zero clouds, or at least none that are super apparent, and ray blocking. It feels pretty good. And then the cardio for this morning was only 30 something minutes. I don't love to, I've got a little cardio bike in the basement, and I don't know what it is. It's like some kind of something where it covers up the screen completely, because I want to sit down and then essentially forget that I'm even doing the cardio, forget that I'm even pedaling, just because I can distract myself with my phone or listen to watching a show, whatever. And then before I know it, hey man, shit, I'm pretty sweaty. Take a peek underneath, and on a good day, I take off the thing and reveal, and holy crap, I'm already at 36 minutes. Nice. I did a little extra cardio, even better. On a bad day, you check the timer and 12 minutes have passed. Whether that's a mental thing or a physical thing, I sometimes you can't tell. But that hurts. It hurts to do that kind of look. Like it's crap, I forget. His name is not Johnny Sack. I don't know. It's like that clip out of The Sopranos where the guy's working. I totally forget his name. He's like, all right, it's got to be 11:30. It's got to be lunchtime. Don't check your watch yet, though, man. Wait till noon. And then he looks and it's like 9 o'clock or something. Like, that's not a good feeling. So, if you get into some edits, or you get into some videos, you play some Clash Royale or whatever, maybe you're a Bloons Tower Defense Battles kind of guy. I'm not going to judge. Right? I've dabbled before. Well, then 30 minutes passes like nothing. I mean, let's be real. How much time are we just totally blowing on a daily basis anyway, because we're all addicted to our phones? You can at least make it a little more proactive by sitting and wasting time on your phone whilst pedaling. And I know that it sucks that I even have to use that as an argument, where it's like, you're already doing nothing. Why not just do nothing while you pedal? But I do think that's a good take. So having a cardio bike in the basement or maybe in the garage, it definitely helps. Right? And if you have one near you, it's really only like $100 away, or maybe free away if you know a guy. But plan for today with back, pump it up. Right? That's pretty much it. Not the exact plan, but that's pretty close to it. And then we'll see what I end up doing. I'm gonna get warmed up, and I feel like I haven't done a lot of pullovers over the last few weeks. I feel like I've been pull down and row heavy, so maybe I'll make today a much more pullover based back day, just in the spirit of changing things up, so that my workouts don't get too not only stale, like for me, so that they're exciting and fun, but also still inducing solid stimulus, because I'm doing a different workout and hitting every fiber in a different way than I normally do. And then I really got to look up like a freaking Amazon visor, because this is a freaking bad situation. But let's get started. Yeah, just like I said in the car, let's change it up to do a at least fly starting workout. And it's been a while, because when I'm bulked up, sometimes it's like I basically fall into a pattern of doing what I know, or at least really believe will work, right? So there's a period of time in this last off season when I was doing a ton of that plate loaded pull down with the two arms that go up and down, and then this pullover, just because I could feel it a lot more in like my upper lats. Like usually I get a very good connection feeling like my lower lats, like down here where they tie into my back, like in the lowest spot. Like I can really feel that burning, but sometimes not as much up here. So, right, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if I'm not feeling it in that area, well, then I'm not stimulating that area, at least not as well as I could. So it's kind of just like this feedback bias of, all right, shit, I actually really do feel it up here. Maybe I should do some more of that. So I'm not as concerned, because all I'm trying to do now is hit my back enough that it stays the same size, so that as I get leaner, I don't shrink. But yeah, I haven't done this pullover for at least multiple working sets for a while, so I think it'll be a good start. So probably a few here, and then we'll just go from there. All right. Whoops. Let me adjust that. There we go. Yeah. Whew. Okay. I think 2 more like that. I was about to say let me go heavier, but actually I think I'm going to try and stick with the same weight and not overdo it. Because if I go too heavy on a squeezing movement like this, I won't actually be able to feel the squeeze, and then I'm defeating the purpose. Yeah. 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 Oh my gosh. It's going to have a mirror directly in front of me because I can actually see if my elbows are out or in. Okay, I think let's do a pullover, but let's do a cable pullover instead, and then move on to a pull down. So those were relatively slow controlled. These are going to be a little quicker, more pumpish. You should really get like a nub or something, because holding the cable by this little ball, it does damage to the wire internally. Because it's not about the weight, but like this cable is super strong this way, like pulling how it's intended. But if this, tiny little spot just gets bent back and forth too many times in a row, plus it's got force underneath of it, oh, let's just say this thing could freaking snap. And depending on what movement you're doing, I think it kind of sucks. I want to say I would not recommend doing this. I'm going to do it because it's my cable. But I like how this feels. So I should just get an exact replicant of how this thing is and just hold it down here. Because it's not fun if you go for a push down, the thing snaps, and like, shit man, what if it broke down here? It got me in the eye, like pull a full on guts look, like not good. But yeah, only 40 pounds. So this will be 5 on each side. Just kind of like a perpetual burnout kind of set. Like I'm not just throwing it around, like I do want to feel it. And my mental image is I'm holding the sword underhand and I'm trying to sheath it onto my hip. That's my imagination. So that helps me, at least. Let me put it one more notch higher and get started. There we go. Oh. Okay. Whew. So that wasn't exactly to failure, but it does feel pretty good. So I think one more of those, one notch heavier. Oh, no. Okay. Ooh. All right. Let's do a pull down. And it should feel nuts because my lats were already so exhausted from those sets starting out. All right, so this is only 200 pounds. A really heavy, nasty set for me is about 300, which honestly right now I don't even think I could really do that well, just dieted. But yeah, manageable weight. And since I've already essentially pre-exhausted my lats with the machine pullover and the cable pullovers, I can make 200 work. And what I mean by that is I want each rep to be extra, damaging, because I'll sit and really hold and squeeze it for a second. That's the idea. Two. Yeah. Two. Yeah. Two. Two. Okay. All right. Let's do one more, but with a different handle. Oh. Just. Sit. Sit. Okay, shit. I think it's a lat focus day. Let me think about it for 1 second just to confirm, but that might be it. Okay, so this is almost an exclusively lat inflating pump. Traps, honestly, really didn't get much work at all. A little bit in the pull down, because obviously at the top, it's just mainly basically all lat. But at the bottom, there's a little bit of trapular, scrapular contraction, if you get what I'm saying. But let's see. So just standing, no pose, no nothing. I mean, there's some tension in that shirt. Let's see how we're looking with it a little more taut. Yeah, shit. Well, no surprise. But let's see how we're really looking. So what I really want to see from now to like next month is a big improvement in that lower back area. Like all those grains and stuff kind of creeping their way out. Like the freakier that gets, that's a cue that dieting wise, things are really starting to happen. There we go. Oh my goodness. So what was that? 3 sets of pullovers, 2 sets of cable pullovers, and then 2 pull down finishers. So a 7-set lat focus back day. That sounds about freaking right to me. But no, solid lift. I definitely feel like there's some stuff underneath my armpits keeping me from, have my arms dangle like straight down when I'm walking. So that's what I want to see. Actually, let me see if I get a solid vacuum here. It's kind of a silly pose. But, couldn't have asked for more for today. Let's go home and eat some freaking ground beef. Yeah, there we go. Nah, that was good. That was quick, but not exactly quick. This is a regular time lift. But no, it's, I can tell that, and I think everybody does this to a degree, but I definitely get caught up sometimes in the same loops of doing the same styles of movements. Like, sure, instead of a heavy pull down, maybe it's a heavy pull down machine or a heavy something or other, but it's still sometimes the same stuff. So yeah, I think that's probably a solid attribute to maybe reflect looking for in your own training, is to say, have I changed it up a little bit in the last few months? Not to say, have you made it better, have you made it worse, as long as you're still making decent progress for whatever you're aiming for. But like, have you changed it up? Have you done a light squeezing day, or have you done maybe a little bit of a heavier, more brutish day? So I think to hit it from all angles is going to be your best bet. And part of that is just like, not bro science, but just kind of like logic of, well, if I can go hard on a lower rep, like 8 rep heavy set, and I can go hard on like maybe a 20 rep more burnout set, or I could go hard on like a 10 rep lighter squeezing set with like 5 different or like 5 or 6 extra partials at the end, or any which way combo of whatever you can even think of, then it's kind of hard to go wrong, like if you're ever kind of, and this is kind of, if you've been lifting for a while, then I don't think it happens as much. But at least for the beginner, I do see comments where guys are talking like, how many reps am I even supposed to freaking do? Mind that red light just now. But like, how many reps do I do? Do I do 15? Do I do 20? Is 20 too high? Is 20 only for toning? No, man. I honestly, in terms of rep range, if you're looking for my take, I'd say you're good from 8 to 25's a little high, but I've been up at that 25 range. It'll get thrown in, and usually the gradient changes based on how high or low the rep number is. Obviously, if it's lower reps, assuming it's a failure no matter where that end number is, then if I'm aiming for an 8 or 9 rep set, then the weight is going to be heavy enough that I can only do 8 or 9. And I'm not like just lying to myself. Like that's really as much as I can do. I'm going as hard as I can. So as long as I'm, warm and everything feels good, then a good heavy set like that, you're solid. And then let's say maybe you did 2 of those. All right, now I want to change it up. Let's do a cable press instead of dumbbell. Well, all right, let's lighten the weight, and you know what? Let's aim for 15, and I'm really gonna squeeze for the first 10, and then I'll do like 5 or 6 partials until I can't really do anymore. That's solid too, Like when we're talking about the debate of lower, heavier sets, or lower rep, heavier sets, or that's like an industrial area, but that was a big ass freaking machine I've never seen. It looked like it was straight out of Tatooine. So sorry to get distracted, but what's better, doing all heavy low rep sets, or should I go a little higher rep and do more squeezing stuff? And to the answer to that, I would say is yes, right? Yes, do some heavy lower rep stuff, as well as yes, do some lighter squeezing, more kind of like torturous sets, and that back and forth between the two lets you get the best of both worlds. And let's say maybe one day you're feeling extra strong, well then I think you might get a little more out of doing a couple more really heavy sets. And maybe it's a day where you feel a little something or other, then you're good, man. You don't have to go that heavy today. Just pull back and do a light squeezing day. That's something that I haven't gotten the value of until only the last, honestly, like I'm still getting the value of it more, but it's only starting to click semi-recently that, pulling back and doing a light squeezing day, a little more like activation based, that's solid, and not even just solid, but necessary, at least a bit, So maybe that just comes with like, you tweak yourself enough and you start to learn. Like you touch the stove too many times and you say, you know what, maybe I actually shouldn't do that, right? You get your shoulder going, you get your chest or your knee or whatever, and you say, maybe idea just popped into my head. Maybe I shouldn't hurt myself. You know what I'm saying? So, beyond just like a full-on major injury, little tweaks, that's kind of that's a cue. Like if I came in today and my forearm right in here, like this, like put your arm straight out with your palm facing up. There should be a big lump of forearm muscle that ties right into your elbow. Right there is where I get a good amount of tendon, something or other, maybe a pinched nerve, if I'm going too hard or if I'm doing too much. So that's a little bit of a minor cue for me, where if I start to, maybe I had a few too many really heavy lifts in a row, maybe for whatever reason my sleep wasn't on point, I start to feel it in there. And that's a little cue. It tells me, Sam, man, you got to back off a touch. You got to chill. Maybe do a light squeezing day today or tomorrow. Maybe do a rest day even, if you feel dire enough. And then come back stronger later. It's and I definitely think that I thought this a lot more, in years past. The idea that backing off, not going heavy, doing less weight than normal wasn't somehow like a defeat, rather than what it really is, which is just a tactical retreat, right? It's just a change of approach, because that in the long game, that's just a necessary step, right? So obviously, if you've got it in your mind that you're going to hit your heaviest set ever at 315 or of whatever uninclined bench for 8, and that's your mindset, and you're getting amped up and you're getting excited about it, and then you start warming up and you say, oh, my shoulder feels kind of weird. There's like this pressure that builds. I know I've felt it in my mind where it's like, fuck, do I go? Oh shit, I don't know. I just want to, like, it's, you get in this headspace where it's like, I just want to do it. But really, what you should do is just have a little bit of a put your hands together Zen breath and say, all right, I probably shouldn't do it today. Let's just back off. And I think for some that's a lot harder than others. It was definitely hard for me to get around that, and sometimes it still is. Like if let's say fast forward 6 months, I'm eating a bit more food, I'm done dieting, I say, all right, let's get some squats done today. And I get it in my mind that I want to hit maybe 5 plates for 12 or something. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I'm getting excited about it. I've got this mental vision of what's going to happen. And I box myself in, and then the idea that I should, like, maybe my knee feels a little something, or I haven't hit that weight for a while and it's too soon. Like, you got to be able to call it quits. You got to know when to fold in that sense. So if you're somebody who's not so attached to, like, the ego lifterishness of doing a really heavy set, which honestly I think the term ego lifting has been, like, muddied, because like, there's real legit ego lifting, which is like you're doing way more weight than you even should touch. Like, it's a guy doing 4 plates with a slingshot and he can't even do 225 raw. That's what I would consider straight up ego lifting. But it's on a spectrum, So to do a heavy set, I mean, let's be real. If you've ever been in the position to hit 3 plates on squat for 12, or just like something big, a big number for you, it strokes the ego a little bit. It does make you feel good because it's cool to go heavy, and that's like numerical proof that your progress is actually improving and you're doing more weight than you ever could. Like, it's hard to get around that. But just try to curb it a little if you catch yourself going a little bit too far off the deep end. So that's not a tip for everyone. That's a very catered, tip to somebody. But that's something that I really hate to say to myself, is like a retrospective "I told you so," where I hurt myself or I tweaked something or I pulled something. I've never had anything like debilitating. Like, I've never had a pec off the bone. Like, I've never had anything that needed surgical intervention or anything. So I've been really lucky there. But yeah, I mean, shit. It's like you're doing a late night drive, you're on the highway. This isn't from experience, but I think I'm actually quoting a Bill Burr here when he was telling a joke where and then he wakes up because he's hit his fucking car against the median. You only get like 1 or 2 of those. You only get like 1 or 2 little baby tweaks before you get hit with a big thing. So just try to prevent that from happening in the first place. So if that message actually hit you and you had a little bit of a moment that you just remembered, look, man, the less injured we can be as a group, the better. And if you've never had something like that happen, well, good for you, man. And I wish you all the best luck in the freaking world that it won't, right? Because a tweak is probably, not a lot worse, that's for sure. But I'm gonna go eat some ground beef. Carb intake so far has been minimal, so I'm gonna make sure I don't overdo it, and then go to bed under my deficit like I want. Wake up and get some cardio done tomorrow. So I'll see you for some arms.